I think it goes right down to understanding the purpose of boards and committees. Boards and committees are, when we really got back into setting up all these committees and boards, that was when if councilmen were on the board, they didn't get paid unless they attended the board meeting. They got board pay, they got council pay, they got committee pay. But the real reason why we had these boards and committees was to involve the community in the governmental process. The community was the one that gleaned the issues from the community and brought them to the council. And they did this through resolutions. They did this by submitting their minutes of the meeting because they had to do this in order to get paid. And that was a good way. Now we can update that now. We can update that. But my point here is, number one, we really need to take the boards and committees and put them back in the community with where they belong and where they can exercise the role that they're supposed to. Secondly, I think accountability is so important, and the way that's done is you submit the minutes. Now these days we can submit them electronically. We don't have to have a note taker sitting there writing that down. We can do that electronically. We submit them, we submit the minutes, the attendance roster, and there you've got some sort of accountability. And if they make a decision that they want the council to act on, then you require them to put it in a resolution form. They're required to go back into the people that they represent, into their districts, and they're required to let them know what they did. Our people are left out of this, out of the circle all the time, and that's what we need to bring back.
I think our boards need to align themselves with a tribal vision. And if that vision comes from the people, it needs to have a strategy that each program board then adheres to. And that vision has to trickle down to our programs. And if our program, for example, health, has a vision that aligns with the tribal government's vision that came from the people, then I think you would see all our programs and our community leaders who are on these boards on the same page. So we have everybody working towards a goal from all levels, from the government to the community to the administrators. Transparency for the board is important. Making the meetings public, posting the minutes, the agenda, and having time for public comment. On the flip side of that, there has to be an organized, fair way to have our community districts, what they call them, chairpersons now, district meetings. For a long time, I have requested that these district meetings have our program board updates on their agenda. So your representative from Bernie for the Board of Health or for housing is able to give an update at your district meeting. And that's what we should require. We should mandate that those updates be given by their district representatives on their respective boards, utilities, health, give those updates at your district meetings. When you give those updates, you get feedback. You take those to your board meeting, and you're able to include community input in drafting of legislation and actions to fulfill that goal. As far as you said, communication, transparency, and accountability. Okay. Well, I think they all fall under accountability. Holding our programs, our leadership accountable, I think has to be at the core is communication with our people. And for the 8 years I've been on council, the Sergeant at Arms has never issued out his newsletter that's required by resolution to update our community on the actions we're taking during our council meetings. Communication also in the sense of our trip reports. I think our trip reports for travel, especially if they're coming from travel programs, are important, and they need to be made available. So we ensure that we are not wasting the government's dime on trips, that they are bringing something back. They are able to give an update at the council floor, which I have done with all my trips during council meeting announcements. I think it's also important when we talk transparency, that is the ability to share information with the people. I think that's been hard for the last administrations because of, again, the fear of backlash of the decisions they're making, or the money they're spending, or the manner in which they're spending it. I think if people are able to see and understand how the government works, they begin to have confidence in that government. They begin to be more participants in the government. And I think when you do that, you in turn hold your leaders accountable because you know what they're doing. I think it's an old tactic to keep the people misinformed because information and knowledge is power. And by keeping the people misinformed or uninformed, they're unable to hold people accountable. And we even see that on a leadership level, amongst the administration, amongst different branches of our government. But I would have a strong effort and have communication be required. And that includes things in newsletters, things on the cable, and develop a more active website. I think our website
council meetings, to actually live stream them to where people can hear what's going on at that meeting when it's actually going on. I thought that is a great idea and pretty cost effective too. The telephone system that we've been getting, we've got a bad one at the court, they've got a bad one at the tribe. We really need to get into the 21st century with that and get something. I believe in a live voice answering the phone and responding to a person. Now, if by any chance there is, somebody does have to leave a message, I believe that whoever that message is left for has an obligation to get back to them. And I've been in that position waiting for a call, like the old days, waiting for a check. Well, now I'm waiting for a call. So the communications, there are any number of ways to do that, but I think posting the minutes, having it where we can read something, that needs to be done as well. But I also, up to the program, I'm a strong believer in outreach. I believe that it is a responsibility of ours not to sit there and wait for somebody to come for us for our service. I think it's our job to get out there and let the community know who we are, what we're doing, why we're there, and find out who we can help. It's critical. We have so many people get caught in that little maze of not knowing who to go or how to resolve a problem. And a really good way too is to hire an information officer. If the money is available, that's something that I had considered. Somebody who can guide people through the maze and get them to the right office for whatever their needs are. Transparency, I think that pretty much covers that. I mean, we have an obligation. We have to let the people know exactly what is going on in the government. But there is a way to come in and, number one, make sure that we bring them into the tribe. They're not a separate entity. And if you look at the plan of operations, the
time is expired.
Okay.
Thank you.
The treasurer is under the tribal president, though. Thank you.